I'm Sarah, and today we're going to be making some homemade chicken stock. And it is way better than anything you can get in the stores because, for one, it's better for you because you can control what goes into it. And you also get a lot of good nutrients from the chicken that you can't get from a box. And it's really easy to make, and I'm going to show you how to make it cheaply today too. If you try to buy like a whole chicken, then it can be very expensive. But if you plan ahead, then you can make your chicken stock rather inexpensive. So I prepared a chicken earlier this week, and I saved the carcass, and I've separated the meat from the bones, and I also have the back and the neck from the chicken. So I also have some vegetables here. Whenever I'm preparing vegetables, I always save my vegetable scraps. So I have a bunch of ends of onions, peels of onions, ends of carrots, the leaves and ends of some celery, and the insides of tomatoes. So instead of buying fresh vegetables, you can save your vegetables, put them in the freezer, and when you have enough to make stock, then you can take them out and use them to make your stock, and that'll cut down on your cost as well. I also have some herbs here for the stock. I have 2 bay leaves, a sprig of thyme, some parsley. I have a head of garlic that I cut in half. I have some tomato paste. We're going to use about a tablespoon. And then we're going to need enough water to cover it all. Okay, so I got all my ingredients prepared, so I'm going to put all of them into a pot right here. So I'm going to start by putting in the vegetables. And I'm going to put in the chicken on top of them. All the bones and all the meat goes into the pot. Then we're going to add our herbs, our garlic, and then we put in the tomato paste, and then we're going to cover it all with water. And we don't want it to be overflowing with water, we just want enough to cover all of the ingredients. Because if we have too much water, then we'll have a diluted stock. And we want our stock to be really flavorful. Okay. I'm going to press all of these ingredients down a little bit to make sure they're all submerged. And I think I'll add just a little bit more water just to cover it all. Okay, so I got all my ingredients on the stove, and I'm going to turn this up to high. And once it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer. So it's starting to come to a boil, and you can see that there's this white foam on top, and we want to skim that off because we do not want that in our stock. So basically it's just a bunch of impurities that are coming to the surface, and we want to get those off while it's still in its almost boiling stage. So my stock has come to a boil, so I am going to put this heat down to low, and I'm going to keep it at a simmer. And we're going to cook it for about 8 hours. Okay, so now that our stock has done cooking, I have gotten this strainer and I've lined it with some cheesecloth. And I've also secured it to the rim with some kitchen twine so that it doesn't fall off when I pour in the liquid. So now we're going to take our stock and we're going to strain it. Okay, so the stock is almost done straining. It takes a while because there's so much liquid. And I'm just going to gently press on the solids so that I can extract as much juice as possible. And you don't want to press too hard, because if you do, then some of those solids could seep through and make your stock cloudy. So just gently press and be patient, and eventually the liquid will soak through. Okay, so our stock is completely strained out now, and it is really dark and really delicious looking, and it smells really great. So I can't wait to eat it. So right now I'm going to put a lid on it and put it in the refrigerator, and then in the morning we're going to take it out, and all the fat will have risen to the surface, and then we can just take off the fat. So I've let my stock sit in the refrigerator overnight, and you can see that the fat has all risen to the surface and it has solidified. So we're going to take a spoon and we're going to skim off this fat from the surface. We don't want our stock to be too fatty because that'll end up
taking away from the flavor, and we want our stock to taste like chicken and not like fat.
And that is how you make chicken stock.